Is putting on the extra weight from weight training worth it for a cyclist? For this next key piece of evidence, we are going to the Lantern Rouge site. Many of you know Lantern Rouge for his race analysis videos in the Tour de France, Flanders, and a variety of other pro road cycling races. I'm going to have a link to the info that I'm going to be referencing here. The evidence presented here essentially shows that not all watts per kilogram are created equal. This means that riders of differing weights are going to actually have to do different watts per kilogram on the same exact climb. I find this really interesting because with weight training, especially when we undergo functional hypertrophic gains, the type of gains that we see that improve baseline aerobic power without a decrease or an increase in VO2 max, meaning that we stay the same power to weight ratio, we see that heavier riders can outperform lighter riders on the same climb for the same watts per kilogram. As we look in the graph here, the 60 kilogram Etalon or standard rider that they presented here in the graph at a 5% climb is doing 6 watts per kilogram. A lighter rider at 50 kilograms has to do 0.36 watt per kilogram more, meaning they have more power that they have to do. A heavier rider, someone at 80 kilograms, has to do 5.56 watt per kilograms or 0.44 watt per kilogram less. This means that if you are able to maintain watts per kilogram from getting heavier, you should have to do less watts per kilogram because you're doing overall more power on the bike. How I best like to describe this to make this make the most sense to me is understanding that there's a different level of gradients or percent climbs. For example, if you were to go on a 0% climb, so flat road, we know that power is going to be the determining factor between the fastest and the slowest riders. Given the same CDA, coefficient of drag, resistance, similar bike setups, rowing resistance, etc. Those are things that you can change, but if you're looking to maximize performance physiologically, this is where this would come into benefit. The more power you produce is going to essentially make you faster. If we go up to a 1% climb, it's unlikely that the effects of gravity are going to have a significant effect on the overall watt per kilogram power output. We wouldn't see a complete shift from 0 to 60 and no watt per kilogram to all the watts per kilograms, just going from a 0 to 1% climb. This is actually seen in many less steep road climbs where we see a lot of guys like Filippo Ganna and Wout van Aert do really well on these hill races or these mountain stages. You can even see in the graph here again that even at a 10% incline, we still see that a heavier rider is going to outperform a lighter rider in terms of watt per kilogram. This really is astounding to me. Where this might have a crossover, where we might see a heavier rider really start to suffer, is really up to my hypothetical guesses, and I would imagine it's much past 20%. But that's all speculation. I haven't done the math on any of that. However, it looks like for most of what we thought climbers would do better, and putting on a few extra pounds can actually be beneficial.